One question I get asked a lot is, what is the difference between the standard Galion TS120 and the Special Edition? Now, I always answer that the Special Edition uses better clarity caps. However, it is way more than just upgrading the clarity caps, because just upgrading the clarity caps will give you a bit more transparency and slightly better bass control. Big deal. You don't pay $1,000 more just to get a bit more. There are some significant upgrades in the TS120 Special Edition, because when you listen to the normal and Special Edition, they sound different. And in my opinion, the Special Edition is one level up. I'll give you a high-level overview of what I did, but obviously I will not share all the tweaks and changes I've done. The original TS120 Special Edition was a bit more transparent and sharper than the normal version. Yes, originally one of the biggest upgrades was changing the clarity caps to the top of the line. The problem with that is, as I said, Galion TS120 is a very lively amp to start off with. So adding a bit more transparency and sharpness can be too much of a good thing. In fact, if you have full house speakers in the beginning, before I fine-tune the Special Edition, you're probably better off with the normal edition. So I asked myself, what can I do to bring the TS120 Special Edition to the next level? And my answer was, I needed the mid-range to sound smoother, the bass to have even better control, and the amp to sound just a bit more refined. Now, for those who have other companies' amplifier, what I did in this video should also apply to you. So I reached out to Mundorf, I bought Jensen caps, I emailed Jupiter caps, and I was ready to upgrade the clarity capacitors even further while absorbing all the costs. Now, Jupiter called me and I spoke to Chris, and he was a very nice guy, as well as super knowledgeable. I told him I'm trying to improve the TS120 further by eliminating the upper mid-range bump. I believe if I can get the upper mid-range to sound smoother, the TS120 Special Edition would match a broader variety of speakers, especially bright speakers. I felt the normal edition is fine, but the Special Edition is a bit too much. Now, Chris told me, no problem. He'll send me a few of these caps that he had to specially make. And here, let me show you a photo. As you can see, this is not from his regular stock. In fact, they're still deciding what they can share regarding the materials used in making these capacitors. Now, for those who don't know Jupiter, they make excellent capacitors, and they can get really expensive. Loic just put 2 Jupiter caps in his stack, and it cost him $800 Canadian. Now, obviously, I can't afford to put $800 caps in the Galion Special Edition, but I will pay any price if it sounds amazing. Anyways, Chris told me these will make your amp sound more musical and natural. Now, between you and me, I had serious doubts. So that is why I also ordered one of their stock current in production capacitors. Sure, they were more expensive than what I originally intended to put in the TS120 Special Edition, but if it levels up the sound, I will do it. And as I said, I will absorb the difference. So I got these 2 different types of caps within, I think, 2 weeks after I spoke to Chris. One big and one small. Obviously, in my head, the bigger one is better because size matters. Ask your significant other, is bigger better? He or she will surely say, of course, the bigger capacitors are better. So I started by putting the current in production stock one first, because it was better looking. How did it sound? Okay. So what I got was an even slightly cleaner top end, a slight rounder mid-range, and a more linear bass. So I lost 20% on my bass, and that for me is not what I'm looking for. Because of the reduction in bass, the top end is even more pronounced, and although more elegant, it was not what I was looking for. I listened to it for a while, and then I decided to give the other not so good looking Jupiter caps a try. I tell you, man, I should have listened to Chris first. I was so shocked when I put it in. Ultra buttery smooth top end. It completely transformed the amp from a lively presentation to a musical presentation where the top end was slightly rolled off. Heck, it will even give some 300B 2 amps a challenge now. Bass was once again more linear. Now, Loic, who has heard the normal edition, dropped by and listened to this special edition, and he said, man, I'm blown away by the bass. Sure, you get 20% less bass punch, but he said, it's very accurate. The reverb, the space of the drums is just so nicely reproduced. He said, you can listen to this amp for hours and hours. I don't care what speaker you pair it with, you will not get listening fatigue. My issue with this presentation now is if you A/B test it against the normal TS120, it is a question of taste which one you would choose. Mr. Cantor probably would choose the original normal standard edition. So it's not truly an upgrade. Rather, it is a completely different presentation. Perhaps one day I'll make a Galion TS120 smooth edition. And some people would die for this kind of sound, but this is not what I was looking for this time. Okay. So, you know what, how I wish I can leave those Jupiter caps and clarity caps in the corner and then go make some babies, you know. Imagine having the best of both worlds. Imagine I can get the bass punch, power, authority, and detailed sparkling top end of the clarity caps, and the smooth, musical mid-range of the Jupiter caps, the better control of the bass with the Jupiter caps, the non-fatiguing presentation that will allow me to go for long listening sessions. That would definitely be a step up from the normal edition. I would kill to get my hands on capacitors that will give me that kind of sound. Then I had a crazy idea. Why don't I mix both Jupiter and clarity caps in different parts of the signal path? Maybe I'll get best of both worlds. Guess what? Oh my gosh, it was like Barbie and Ken, man. The perfect Barbie marriage. I was not able to sleep the first night when I heard the combo. This is next level up. I have the details and sharpness on the top end now. No more rolled off presentation. I have the bass and authority now. And sure, I lost 5%, but the bass is more balanced and even better control. Next, I have no more mid-range bump. And I have the smoothness of the Jupiter caps. Not 100% smooth compared to if I put all Jupiter caps, maybe 80%. But I gain more texture in the mids. I tested all my speakers with bad recordings, pushing the volume to concert level. No problem. The Jupiter caps just cut off the upper mid-range bump at the right spot. Focal speakers, bring it on, man. No problem. If you find it still too bright, which is probably 1% of the Focal owners, change it to Mular KT88. Still too bright, use tone control. Still too bright, man, you're definitely allergic to Focal speakers. So with this smoother mid-range, I was able to adjust the other stuff in the signal path to open up the top end even more. So now I even get more air and sparkle. With these changes, the TS120 Special is no longer just normal edition with a bit more transparency and better bass control. The overall presentation has changed. More sparkling top end, way smoother upper mid-range, more detailed bass, but slightly less exaggerated. Slightly more air, and this amp will pair easier with bright speakers. Now, I know I told you this story within 10 minutes, right? But it took me hundreds of hours, countless of travel to get the things changed, significant amounts of money, dedication, and sweat to get the TS120 Special Edition to sound one level up. Heck, I even have to quit my job, right? My final challenge now is to decide how refined I want the top end to be before they ship out, because I noticed if I voice it a 10 on 10 for my Silverline Sonata, it sounds a 7 on 10 on Focal. Now ideally you want like an 8 or 9 on 10 on most speakers. Deutsch told me, Thomas, you have 1 month left to decide that final fine-tuning value, because they're still waiting for clarity caps shipment anyways, so I have a bit of time. Now Clarity told me it would take 5 months to get the caps. I had to beg them, and they had to make special arrangements to reduce from 5 months to 3 months, but limited quantity. That is why the second batch of Special Edition will go to like next March or April. The worldwide shortage, man, supply shortage is really a pain in the butt. Now, having said that, the normal edition has its advantage over the Special Edition. I will even say, for smoother sounding speakers like the Sibelius or the Concept 500, the normal edition might still be a better match because it is slightly sharper. Or if you're someone who prefers a more lively presentation. And in fact, when I get my first batch, I'll send a Pro Acoustic the normal edition so that you can pair it with the Sibelius. So to help me evaluate the special edition, I had to ask my audio buddies. Now today I'll share with you guys just one story, okay? So I brought it to Mr. Quad's place to listen. He told me there's one track that he uses to test, and he is incapable of listening to it with his system because it is too harsh. That is with his Mcintosh 6700 Quad 2905. Yet he's able to listen to that song with the Galion TS120 Special Edition. He thinks the Galion is smoother than his Mcintosh now. Now, I personally would not say it is smoother, but I think the TS120 Special Edition rolls off certain frequencies in the mid-range, and it is just at the right spot. Because if you listen to it, you will not feel the amp is rolled off. Okay? It's not buttery smooth too, but yet, with bad recordings, no problem. I can push the volume. It will still sparkle like no tomorrow. One of the most revealing amp, and that's why the special edition voicing is very interesting. Now, so for those of you who find your amplifier too bright, you can actually fix it if you know which capacitors to change. Of course, I had the schematic, so I knew what I was doing, but I'm just amazed at how much the sound can change if you really take the time to voice your amp. Mr. Quad and Mr. DIY told me, Thomas, man, you just don't let go. You keep trying and trying until you get what you want. Ladies and gentlemen, there are only two things I want with the Galion project: to make billions and to bring a smile to whoever buys it. Sounds cheesy, but true. Now, there's no sound demo today because the amps are making the tour of all my audio buddies. I will record a sound demo for you once I get it back, which I have no idea when. All right, guys, till next time.